Welcome back to the 3CIR podcast, where we take big ideas about learning, leadership, and life after the uniform and turn them into a chat you can take on a run or in the ute. I'm Joel, mates call me Slate, former military, currently addicted to strong coffee and straight talk.
And I'm Ryan, but everyone knows me as Jury, also ex-military, sometimes wise, mostly lucky, and always here to make sure Slate doesn't sprint off before we've got our laces tied.
That's fair. Look, if you're new here, 3CIR was started by proud Australian Defence Force veterans with a simple idea: help our people transition well. Our backbone's 5 big tenets: courage, commitment, camaraderie, integrity, and respect. They're not just nice words on a wall, they're how we show up for veterans, emergency services, and civilians who want to turn experience into opportunity.
Exactly. If you've ever asked, how do I make everything I've done count in civilian life, you're in the right place. We do that through RPL, recognition of prior learning, and online quals that meet you where you are. And we keep it practical, no fluff.
Today we're talking careers by upskilling. Big topic. You can feel it in the workplace right now. Competition's fierce. Companies are pushing hard to grow. People are looking over their shoulder, wondering, am I safe here? How do I make myself indispensable?
And we've both been there, that moment where you realise not every position has tenure, one restructure, and suddenly your chair's got wheels and no brakes. Upskilling is the handbrake. That's the theme we're unpacking. Becoming an asset, not just a seat filler.
We're going to hit how companies are investing serious money in training, why employees are getting proactive with their own money, and where government grants or loans might help if the wallet's a bit empty. We'll connect that to RPL, because if you've already done the hard yards, you shouldn't be starting from scratch.
And stick around. Later we'll talk about the networking upside, mentors, new mates, even social groups that come with training, and how that stuff can spark a new fire under you. Plus, practical moves you can make this week. Also, we'll tease next episode the benefits of upskilling that make it a no-brainer. Convenience, affordable, paperless. It's like going from rations to a proper meal.
Let's set the scene. Corporate world right now? Cutthroat. There are hundreds of companies crowded into the same space, everyone trying to be louder, faster, leaner.
And inside those companies, leaders are realizing something. The best investment isn't a shiny platform, it's people. Training budgets are not just line items, they're growth levers. You send someone on the right course and you get productivity, better problem solving, fewer mistakes, and happier customers. That's ROI. You can see.
I had a manager once who said, training is expensive until you price out ignorance. That stuck with me. Teams that don't learn stall. People who don't grow get labeled replaceable.
Which is the scariest word in a performance review. Replaceable. Look, if you're sitting there thinking your job's secure because you know the current system, mate, the system is changing. AI, compliance, safety, new regs, new tools. If you're not evolving, you're slipping. And when you slip,
the market doesn't slow down to catch you. This is where personal responsibility kicks in. A lot of people are investing part of their salary back into education. They're buying courses, getting certs, attending workshops, not because their boss told them to, but because they want options. They want leverage.
And if money's tight, and we get that, cost of living's real, there are government-backed programs and loans worth checking. Sometimes there's funding for upskilling in areas like WHS, project management, HR, or community services. It's surprising how many people don't even look.
That's the first practical move today. Look, if your company has a training budget, ask about it. If not, talk to 3CIR. Our team can help steer you. What's essential, what's nice to have, and what can be recognized through RPL so you don't overpay or overtrain for things you already know.
The other side of this is opportunity. Promotions rarely land on good enough. They go to people who make themselves indispensable. And how do you become indispensable? You make your boss's headaches smaller. You handle more complexity. You become the one who can step in when things go sideways.
Upskilling is the signal you send that says, I'm here to contribute at a higher level. Better yet, training isn't just a badge, it changes you. You get sharper on problem solving. You become faster at pulling the right lever at the right time. You spot risks earlier.
In the military, we used to say, competence buys you calm. You know what I mean? When you've actually trained for it, You're less rattled when the alarm goes off. Civilian life's no different. If you've built the skill, the meeting's just a meeting.
Let's talk RPL, because this is where a lot of our community finds acceleration. Recognition of prior learning is exactly what it says, taking your real-world experience, whether it's from defence, the emergency services, or civilian roles, and mapping it to formal qualifications. You might have been supervising teams, designing rosters, leading safety briefings, handling high-stress logistics, but you never got the paper.
We see it all the time. An ex-AMBO with 10 years on the road, strong in triage, communication, and split-second decisions. They're actually a natural for WHS leadership or risk management. Or a security team leader who's been running operations every weekend, project management in disguise. RPL turns that into recognized credentials quickly without making you reprove what you already do.
And the time saved is huge. Instead of doing a full course from scratch, RPL can credit big chunks of it, sometimes most of it, based on your portfolios, references, and documented evidence. That's time back, cost down, and you get a piece of paper your boss recognizes.
I had a mate who moved from an infantry role into HR through RPL. People think HR is just forms, but actually it's conflict resolution, leadership, talent spotting, policy, culture. He had years of it in the field. RPL gave him a nationally recognized pathway. Now he's the go-to for recruitment and workforce planning in his company.
There's also the network effect of upskilling. When you jump into a course or engage with 3CR, you get connected with mentors, peers, and industry folks. That's where new ideas and opportunities live. It's not just what you learn, it's who you meet while learning it.
Quick story. I joined a short leadership program years ago and the content was solid, but the kicker was who sat next to me, a safety lead who became a long-term mentor. He opened doors, gave me perspective, saved me from a few career potholes. You don't get that sitting still.
People and communication skills grow fast when you're in those rooms. It's not just lectures, it's discussions, debates, real scenarios. You start explaining your experience in a way the civilian world understands. That translation muscle is massive for vets and first responders.
And it lights a fuse. Passion. I know that sounds cheesy, but discovering a new skill can reignite you. You don't have to drag your feet to work when what you're doing lines up with what you're good at and growing in. It's like switching from running with a pack to running with purpose.
Let's get tactical. How do you become an asset fast? You target skills that sit at the intersection of value and demand. Think leadership and people management, WHS and risk, project management, HR and talent, security operations and cyber awareness, business operations, marketing fundamentals. Those aren't just shiny, they're core to how companies function.
And they stack. You add project management to leadership, suddenly you can run cross-functional work. Add WHS to operations, suddenly you're the safety conscience with real clout. Add HR basics to line management. You're preventing problems, not just responding to them. Stack 3 of those and your LinkedIn inbox changes.
Now, here's a rhythm we recommend. Step 1. Audit your experience. Make a list of things you've done that map to actual competencies. Led people, managed budgets, built rosters, drafted safety plans, handled incidents. That's gold.
Step 2. Talk to 3CIR about RPL. The conversation will surface which qualifications align to your experience. Maybe you're closer to a Cert I4 or a diploma than you think. That recognition reduces how much new study you need.
Step 3. Upskill strategically to fill the gaps RPL doesn't cover. Pick courses that move the needle now. This is where 3CIR's range is worth a look. Leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. We've got videos too if you want a quick taste before you commit.
That video library is like reconnaissance. Take a quick look. Leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, project management. It helps you decide, is this my track? And if you're still unsure, email the team at info3cir.com. They're friendly, straight shooters, and they'll tell you what's worth your time.
Now, there's a mindset piece here. Professional and personal development aren't two roads, they're one. When you grow at work, you often grow at home. Better communication helps with teams and with family. Better problem solving helps with projects and with life.
Can I say something maybe a bit too honest? A lot of folks are waiting for permission to grow, waiting for a manager to tap them on the shoulder. Mate, tap yourself. If there aren't enough opportunities where you are, create them. Upskill, volunteer for a project, ask for stretch tasks, show up like the job you want.
And if the company doesn't see it right away, that's okay. Your effort makes you more valuable anywhere. Upskilling is the portable safety net. Even if you're living on the edge of your seat now, when you invest in yourself, you pull that seat back from the cliff.
Let's talk about the fear that keeps people still. Time, money, and the unknown. Time-wise, this is where RPL is brilliant. It compresses the path. You're not relearning what you already live and breathe, and most online qualifications are modular. You can chip away after hours or on weekends.
Money-wise, be smart about sequence. Use RPL to lower costs. Use employer budgets where possible. Explore government grants or loans where they fit. And remember, the cost of not upskilling is invisible until it's not. Missed promo, stagnant pay, or a role that gets automated away.
The unknown is a little gremlin whispering, what if I can't do it? You can. If you've managed a fireground, a patrol, a shift, a warehouse, a clinic, or a business, you can manage a certificate. The key is support, and that's where 3CIR comes in. You get guidance, not judgment. You get structure, not red tape.
Let's map a couple of pathways. Say you're a firefighter with years of incident command, safety checks, and community engagement. With RPL, you could pivot into WHS leadership or emergency management in a civilian context, then add a project management qual to run safety initiatives across sites. That's leverage.
Or you're a truckie who became the unofficial team lead, coordinating runs, managing safety, stepping in when things broke. There's business ops in there, leadership, maybe even elements of HR if you handled onboarding. RPL can recognize that, then you add a Cert IV in leadership and management. Suddenly, you're in line for supervisor roles formally.
How about a security operations leader? You've developed rosters, set SOPs, handled stakeholders, managed risk on the ground. That maps to Cert RFID or diploma level courses in security risk management and project management. Those quals unlock contracts and command higher day rates. It's not magic, it's mapping.
Nurses and AMBOs, you've got communication, triage, compliance, and patient-centered care that translate to WHS, quality assurance, or training and assessment. It's why we're so passionate about RPL. It respects the grind you've already done.
And let's not forget folks already in corporate roles feeling stuck. Admin officers who've been quietly solving problems for years. If you've been the glue of a team, there's project admin, HR support, or business improvement in your future. Formalize it. Upskill into it. That's how you stop being overlooked.
Something else, the blog nails. The learning curve should stay active. The moment you feel like you've arrived is the moment you drift. Keep the curve alive. You don't need to overheat. Just keep a steady pace of learning. One unit at a time. One skill at a time. That compound effect is wild.
It's the compounding that makes people say, wow, they're a different operator now. But it didn't happen overnight, it happened consistently. That's what employers sharpen their pencil for, consistent value.
Quick check-in for listeners. If you've ever been told you lack the qualification, ask yourself if you really lack the skill or just the paper. If it's the paper, RPL might be the answer. If it's a genuine gap, a short course can fix that. Either way, you're not stuck.
One more thing about becoming an asset, visibility. Upskilling makes your work visible in a different way. You start speaking the language of risk registers, KPIs, budgets, and stakeholder maps. That language gets you into better rooms.
And in those rooms, you find mentors, people who say, hey, come here, try this, use my runway. Mentors aren't mystical. They show up when your effort signals you'll use their advice. Courses and professional networks are prime mentor finding grounds.
Let's loop in the 5 3CIR tenets. Courage is starting even when you're nervous. Commitment is sticking with it when the novelty fades. Camaraderie is the support network you lean on. Integrity is choosing the courses and paths that genuinely build value. not shortcuts that look good and go nowhere. Respect is for the craft, for yourself, and for the people you serve at work.
That's the heartbeat of what we do. It's not just certificates, it's transformation. But we keep it practical because bills and timelines are real. If you want to start today, here's a simple action plan. First, jot down your top 5 strengths from real work. Second, list the role you want in 12 months. Third, email info@3cr.com with those 2 lists and ask, what's the most direct RPL and upskill path to get me there? That's it. Conversation started.
And explore the 3CIR site. We've got courses across leadership, HR, WHS, security, business, marketing, government, and project management. Watch a couple of the short videos to orient yourself. They're quick, clear, and they'll give you a feel for what each pathway involves.
I can hear someone thinking, isn't it risky to invest in myself if my company doesn't support it? Here's the twist. Self-investment reduces risk because even if your current company doesn't get it, the next one might. Your qualification goes with you. Your new capabilities sticky.
All right, let's answer the big question we opened with. How do you make yourself an asset so you feel secure? You do 3 things. You grow skills that matter, you document them through RPL and qualifications, you apply them to solve real problems. That combination is hard to replace.
And you don't need to throw your life into chaos to do it. Fit it around your schedule. Nudge it forward. Get small wins. The first time your boss says, thanks for spotting that risk before it became an incident, you'll know you're on the right track.
Quick myth busting. Upskilling isn't just for promotion, it's also for rediscovering your spark. You might find your role feels new again because you've upgraded how you approach it, or you might discover a new pathway entirely. Both are wins.
And it's not about collecting badges like they're fridge magnets. It's about unlocking performance. If you can't use it Monday morning, it's probably not the right course. That's why 3CIR focuses on practical units, things you can deploy at work immediately.
You mentioned earlier that training budgets signal something. I want to emphasize that. When companies invest in your growth, they're betting on you. But you don't have to wait for the bet. Put some chips on yourself. It changes how you walk. Managers notice that.
Speaking of managers, if you're a leader listening and wondering how to help your team become assets, encourage RPL conversations, recognize informal leadership, fund targeted courses, set clear skill ladders. You'll keep your best people and they'll keep your customers.
A lot of this echoes what we've covered in past episodes on resilience and leadership. Change is constant and leaders adapt. The twist now is making it tactical through upskilling and RPL.
Before we land the plane, let's give a couple of quick role to qualification snapshots to get ideas flowing. If you're a team leader in a warehouse, think Cert IVO in leadership and management plus WHS. If you're in community engagement, think HR or project management. If you're the unofficial problem solver in your office, business operations or project management can formalize that strength.
If you're coming from service or emergency roles, align your operational planning to project management, your safety checks to WHS, your conflict handling to HR, your intel work to security risk management, your logistics to business. You've got more currency than you realize.
And if you've been in marketing adjacent roles, social media for a local club, community events, you're closer to marketing or comms than you think. That can open doors across industries. Again, map it, recognize it, then top it up.
Final word on fear. It's normal to worry about being replaceable, but fear subsides when skill rises. The best antidote to uncertainty is capability, and capability is what upskilling builds.
If today's episode sparks something, don't let the spark die. Reach out, ask questions, explore courses, watch the videos, email info@3cir.com. Whether you're a veteran, an AMBO, a Sparky, or a corporate operator, there's a path with your name on it. See,
and hey, if you're still listening while doing burpees, respect. You've already got the discipline. Let's put it to work for your career.
Next time, we're breaking down the benefits of opting to upskill with a spotlight on why it's actually easier than it sounds. Convenience, affordable, paperless. We'll show you how to fit learning around your life, why the numbers make sense, and how going digital means no shoebox of paperwork under the bed.
We'll also share some hacks for choosing the right course fast and a couple of wild stories from people who leveled up on their lunch breaks. Not kiddings.
Until then, keep the learning curve alive and the kettle on. You've got this.
And we've got your back at 3CIR. Courage, commitment, camaraderie. integrity, respect. Let's turn those into your next qualification.